You're listening to Dentistry Gone Wild, the official podcast of mobile and teledentistry. I'm your co-host, Melissa Turner.
And I'm Sonya Dunbar, the other co-host. And we're so excited to be here. Melissa, I am so excited about this guest that we're having on the podcast today. This is right up your alley, right? You're you're like the teledentistry nerd. You nerd out on that stuff, don't you?
I nerd out. I am unashamed. Yes. And there's a couple others like Sonya. You might be there too, I think.
No, I nerd out on the mobile dentistry, but I think you deep dive head first into teledentistry. If you all have a new product, if there's something that you want, anything about teledentistry, anything, if you want a approval or looks on it, please send it to Melissa, because she's going to read everything. She's going to deep dive and do the research. She's going to read the small print, and she's going to do the comparison. Am I correct, Melissa? Now,
that's right. Yeah, I might even dream about it, but don't tell anyone.
No, I didn't know. Wait a minute. I didn't know you dreamed about it. Do you really dream about it?
I might. It depends what I eat that day. If it's spicy food, then I'll dream about teledentistry.
Oh my gosh. I thought you were going to say it depends on what I drink that day, but
No,
you said. But listen, we have an amazing, amazing guest today. We have Dr. Bill Jackson with us. And I don't want to give away too much information because he's going to introduce himself as we speak. So Dr. Jackson, welcome on board with us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So you want me to give you a quick background? Is that where you want me to start?
It's up to you, but what we want to do is just, first of all, just going to jump in and tell you that I love your platform. I love what you do. And if you can just start out by telling us your passion, what started you on the journey before you even tell what you do, if you can just share what started you on the journey to doing what you do.
Well, when my business partner, Richard Lee, our CEO at Virtual Dental Care, and I left our last business, the company sold. We were trying to figure out what to do next. Was there a way we could potentially make a difference in the dental industry? We took a look at what we consider, and I think most people do, the biggest problem in the industry, and that's dealing with the underserved. And we had worked in our previous company with Paul Glassman to modify our software, which was Denticon, was a software, to modify it to meet his needs for his studies up at University of Pacific up in San Francisco, where he was doing what he calls we call it the virtual dental home. I don't know that he ever did, but and that's hygienists, of course, going out into community settings and delivering preventive care typically and gathering diagnostic information. So that was the model. We had worked with him. We modified the software. We thought it was going to be fine. And we thought, okay, well, let's take this now and try to figure out how to scale it, how to make it work in a way that we could take it out of just the public health arena and out of the grants or not-for-profit status and turn it into something that could be scalable, that dentists could use and maybe even make money at, and that would address the needs of the underserved better than anything that any one person could do. So we started working with that. We started working with Paul and realized right away that as much as we loved the software from our old company, of course, we developed it, so we loved it, but it was not going to support that model. And if we were ever going to meet our goals of getting scalable, if we were ever going to meet our goals of trying to make it profitable, that we were going to have to find different software. I mean, it was as simple as that. We knew the industry very, very well. We knew that there was no bricks and mortar software, traditional dental software that was going to get it there. And so we went back to our roots and started developing. And so the software we developed, or the beginnings of our company then of Teledentix, was to support that model of dealing with the underserved. So that's where the passion was and still is. I mean, that's where we want to go with this ultimately. But we've got to make it broad. We've got to make it widespread. We've got to let everybody start to see the value of teledentistry on any level that they can see the value of teledentistry. And then the rest is going to happen.
So your software that you're talking about, it's called Teledentix. Love the name. And some people might think it's relatively new, but in essence, it's been around for a while, right? You were beta testing it for a couple of years. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's been around we started developing it about 4 years ago and testing it probably 3. So it's been in use a long time for that particular model. Now, that particular model, of course, is typically an asynchronous model, right? That's where the diagnostic records are gathered and then reviewed later. And that's initially what we built. Now, we put the synchronous component, the live video conferencing capability into it, anticipating that it would be used at some point in the future, but no one was using it. And in fact, the industry wasn't using it prior to COVID. So it's which is always humorous to me when I see all these companies now that have said they've been in teledentistry for years, because no one really has. But at least if that's their definition of teledentistry. So yes, and we had a lot of users, and probably the biggest boon for us as a company, at least from a commercial standpoint, was companies like VirtueDent emerged, FlossBar, Dentist on Demand, and many others that, they're all our customers now, because there was no real mobile software. They could try to modify existing software like Denticon, but they found out it just was not scalable. It wasn't going to work for them. So they became customers of ours. So we had thousands and thousands of users who were banging on it every day, which is the best thing you can ask for software. They weren't using it in the synchronous or the real-time usage, but it was there. And so when the COVID hit, we finally, and the shutdown happened, and they all had to shut down. All the demand was toward something that could be synchronous. So we had to modify our software a little bit, because it was never developed to be used that way. And ultimately did. And now all of a sudden the whole universe is opening up, and people are seeing how they can use teledentistry in any number of ways that go well beyond what people typically think of when they're thinking of teledentistry at this point.
And see, that's great, Dr. Jackson. Timing is everything. It was just time for it to happen. Like you said, you've been working with this for a while, and no one had really seen it. And then COVID happened, and now it's in everyone's face. So now you are a general dentist, or do you have a private practice? What's a little bit about you?
Well, I'm a recovering dentist. As everybody.
Wait a minute, recovering dentist. What is a recovering dentist? Because I might be a recovering hygienist.
Well, I did practice for 10 years after school. I'd started up a small dental insurance company, in fact, in LA, and really to get patients into my offices for the most part. And then all of a sudden, the big guys, it was a managed care plan, and the big guys decided to get involved in managed care. And so they picked me and my business up, and I started working for Prudential. Fast forward, I ended up running the division, the dental insurance division at Prudential, moved to the East Coast for a few years. And then Blue Cross California went public as WellPoint, and they hired me, moved me back to California, which at the time was nice, and got our family back to California. And so I ran the dental division for WellPoint until the .com boom hit. And I started a company that was the first real-time dental claims clearinghouse company. So using the internet to move claims across. And in those days, that was quite a challenge. That's where I met Richard Lee, my business partner. He had started, my company was called Dental Connect. He had started a company called Dental Exchange. We merged the companies together. We became the biggest .com dental play out there. And then when the bust hit, we were doing a lot of different things. And it's one of those mile wide, inch deep strategies. We were going to be everything for everybody. And when the bust hit, we had to slim it back down, and we slimmed down to the claims clearinghouse, that the Dental Connect company that I'd started. And really became the biggest in that industry. We exited that, sold that to a group of dental insurance companies that were our clients. They funded us and ultimately bought it because they wanted the infrastructure, the technical infrastructure. It's still around. It's still, I think, the biggest real-time dental claims clearinghouse still. So after we exited that, we started the company called Planet DDS that I just described before, Denticon. Again, cloud-based system. The focus was on enterprises, large enterprises. I think it might still be the biggest DSO player out there right now. So, you need cloud-based, you need multiple providers, multiple locations, very, very sophisticated software. So, and then sold that, and you heard the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm. Now, it seems like I feel privileged to have you today, because you have been through so much technology-wise through the years. I mean, you've sounds like you've almost seen it all in the dental industry and beyond. So my question for you is this: so you had mentioned that not many dental providers, prior to the shutdown, were using the synchronous teledentistry options. I have to laugh when I think about that, because most likely outside of the dental office, we all were using synchronous video chat just for other purposes. And it has taken, like, FaceTiming my parents, right? FaceTiming your friends and your family all day long. So in your opinion, why has it taken kind of so long for practice owners and clinicians in dentistry to adopt that into clinical practice?
Well, I still don't think they understand it. They don't see the value of it. I mean, I talk to dentists every day that say, yeah, oh, no, we've been doing teledentistry for a long time. I use Zoom, I use FaceTime, I use something like that. That's not. What it reminds me of is my mother, who passed away a few years ago, was in a wonderful senior village, and she had a friend who had an iPhone. He was having trouble with it, and she asked me if I could help him with it, and he gave it to me. And on the back of it, he had a piece of paper taped to the back of the iPhone with all the telephone numbers of the people that he was going to call. And and I asked him, of course, well, what's this? And he explained, and and I said, you can put that in the phone, and well, that was just too much for him. And so it sort of reminds me of that, when the dentists are using video conferencing and saying that I do teledentistry. It's like, there's so much more that you could be doing with it than just using it for video conferencing. And if it's just that, it's not very exciting. I mean, patients, they don't necessarily want to get on a Zoom. They might just want to chat. They might want to be on the phone. I mean, what's the big win for the patient in that scenario? I mean, unless the dentist says, I specifically want to see something, I need you to get online, that there's just no incentive on both sides. So the future, if I'm to jump ahead of what teledentistry is going to be, has to cater to the needs of the patient. It has to be much broader than just getting online and talking like we're talking right now. It's got to be a way for them to use all the tools of teledentistry, which is just more than video conferencing. It can be chat, it can be email, it can be, what is the definition of teledentistry? It's the use of telecom tools. So whatever that is, and that might be documents being sent back and forth asynchronously. It could be photos being sent back and forth. But all of those are just touch points for a patient to be able to participate in their own healthcare, rather than just sitting back and again, having a video conference, and tying that in with multiple providers, and maybe even beyond dental care, go into medical dental integration. Now, all of a sudden, you begin to see all the ways that people are all of a sudden beginning to see. Now, I can do case presentation in a way with teledentistry that could have never been done before. I can do patient education with teledentistry in a way that could have never been done before. And now I have a way to keep it all together so that I know what I've done. I mean, if I'm just doing teleconferences and I'm doing them from home, how does that get into the patient record?
That's right.
What if I sent a text afterwards? What if they sent me a photo? Did I remember to put all that back into my practice management system? Did I keep that straight? There's got to be a way to do that makes it convenient for everybody, and including the patient. So it doesn't begin with just the patient, and then you take it to the next level, and that is a collaboration. I mean, the ability for professionals, like I said, physicians, it doesn't have to stop with just dentists, but for them to be able to collaborate. And then, of course, all the other tools that we're seeing right now. Orthodontists are using it in a wonderful way because they can keep patients out of their office. We've got one orthodontist that says he's keeping as many as 60% of his visits teleconferencing. I mean, that's a huge win in this COVID world of ours. So there's new ways that are coming up. Like I say, case presentation is another one, and that can even be done sequentially. Like we've got the capability in our software. So maybe my first appointment for a clear aligner or a denture, take your pick, implants, whatever it is, might just be a conference like this. 15 minutes, we talk. I ask you to upload some photos, and then you send it to me. And then through our software, I have the capability of doing a recording later at my own convenience, maybe that night, where I say, you're a perfect candidate for clear aligners. I've got a couple of before and after photos that look like it would be your case. I've embedded a video, you can see it. And my financial coordinator has put a quote on what that would be. So now by the time the patient comes in the office, they're an informed consumer. I mean, they won't even come in the office if they don't like what I've said, or they don't like me personally, or whatever it is.
That's true. That's true.
And so I've got that capability that comes along with teledentistry. Just the ability to get online for a number of our clients right now are networks that are taking triage calls. So companies like Virgident, Teledentist, you've heard. So they have to have the right technical infrastructure for all that to work. Well, that's part of teledentistry too. Is this ability to people to go into a queue. Hey, I've got a I'm a Cigna member and I've got a toothache. What do I do? Well, then Cigna's giving me the opportunity to go to this location, and they're coming to our software at that point. So now all of a sudden, again, you just see this broader and broader picture of what it is that brings in patient engagement, and I would say patient participation. It brings in collaboration, and it brings in all the tools together to be able to have a patient record that everybody can then see. That doesn't, we'll still integrate with practice management systems for the data that's appropriate, but there's a lot of data that's not appropriate. I mean, if you've got, all these means of communication, and you've got all these potential players that are in a healthcare team, those kind of communications, that no practice management system can handle that kind of stuff, and or the workflow associated with that kind of stuff. So yeah, I can download what's through an integration. I can download the treatment that was rendered into a practice management system, but I can't keep all that other stuff straight. So again, now we have an EHR, electronic health record, or dental record that is telehealth enabled. And that's an important key that I don't think very many people realize either. So these are all the components that are going to bring us into an unbelievable new treatment capabilities that just weren't out there before. And it's all through communication tools. It's not through typing in what work I did today, right? It's a whole lot more than that.
Great news. Melissa and Sonya here to let you know that we've just opened up virtual tickets for Evolve 2021. The National Mobile and Teledentistry Conference is happening on March 4 through 6 in Orlando, Florida.
Included in your virtual tickets are over 2 days of events with more than 15 live educational hours and on-demand bonus content. You'll receive access to the virtual exhibit hall, special discounts, and admission to the Hub, our new and exclusive online community.
That's right, it is. And as an extra bonus, this year we are super excited to announce that we've partnered with the brand new Denobi Awards, an industry-wide awards program to celebrate outstanding individuals in dentistry. The Red Carpet Awards Gala is taking place on the closing night of our conference on March 6th. Here's the thing, Sonya. If they buy a ticket to the conference, admission is included in that ticket.
Listen, if you bought your ticket, get your outfits together because this red carpet event is going to be amazing. So hurry and click the link below to reserve your seat for Evolve 2021.
We hope to see you there.
Bye.
Bye. I feel like many times we, and I'm speaking for the dental community, but we tend to overcomplicate what teledentistry is. Like you said, it's simply a way of communicating. And so we're doing it already in ways that we don't realize it. Like if we're pre-screening for COVID-19 while the patient's in the car or on the way, we're sending forms back and forth. These things are already happening. And so I think it's a bit of a learning curve for practice owners and clinicians to understand that you may already be doing this to some extent, and let's not overcomplicate it, right? And one of the misnomers right now is I know a lot of people think that teledentistry is just their virtual, consult or live video chat. But for me, when I nerd out about teledentistry, it's thinking about the many ways that the asynchronous can be used within the clinical workflow between the front office and the back clinical. There's so many ways that the asynchronous communication can happen, and you just listed many of those ways. So that's really exciting for me to think about, and to think about what's coming down the line in the future.
And it can be overwhelming. You're absolutely right. And it's one of the problems we see as we bring on new customers, and that's they're thinking video conference. They see all the bells and whistles associated with what we've got, and we make it looks a lot nicer, and it is. But it's a lot more well tested than anything out there. But the fact is then we say, and you can use it this way, and you can use it this way,
right?
And you can use it this way.
It's intimidating. It gets intimidating.
And they're saying, I want to walk out and just grab my morning paper and come back in. I don't want to fly to the moon. All right, you're making it way too hard.
Yeah.
So.
One thing I wanted to ask. We use your platform for our nonprofit organization. And I want to take my hat off to your platform because one, it is user friendly and it is a lot, but you can add on what you need as you need it. And the customer service is amazing. I think her name was Phoebe. She walked us through that hand to hand and had other technical people on the line to help us as we downloaded the application. And it's great. I just have to say that I've started out with a lot of platforms. I think I started out with Planet DDS, and I've gone around and danced with a lot of. I'm going to say I kissed a lot of frogs, but this one turned into a prince, and then and I like it. I really do. But Melissa and I do a lot of speaking, especially for hygiene organizations. And we find, and like I say, Melissa, that is our teledentistry nerd there. And I usually speak to the mobile dentistry and she speaks to the teledentistry. But the question I want to ask you, Bill, is there's states that really need to use teledentistry. I mean, even if it's the basic, not all the bells and whistles. And I'm going to pull someone on the carpet like Texas, where they have a lot of areas where people are not being served. Okay. So by 2025, Texas will have over 3,000 more hygienists than they need in the whole state. And they will be under 500 dentists that they need, especially in Hispanic and Latino communities in those border areas where hygienists will go out there. Now, that's an access to care situation that Texas needs help on, but we're not going to even go down that alley. But I want to know your perspective on how we can get dentists, because it's about the dentists, to see how important teledentistry is in the state, even if they want to use it. Let's just get it in the state where it could be built. Now, they're sending all these physicians out to do all sort of medical healthcare screening, telehealth. I mean, to the point of just checking to see, they send telehealth out for chicken pox. I'm just using something, just little things, okay? They even have the podiatrists doing telehealth, okay? I mean, really, you're gonna look at some feet. You're gonna look at somebody's feet through the phone or through. Come on, give me some help here. So Bill, you're a doctor genius with all these platforms you made. So can you talk to your fellow doctors and tell us what we need to do to help our doctors get teledentistry in these underserved areas? Because people need help. And as professionals, as dental professionals, I feel that we're obligated to do it. And I don't blame a dentist. I mean, if you went to school and you have all this debt or whatever you have going on, you don't want to go out and treat a $12 Medicaid patient. Mm-hmm. You don't want to do a $12 exam. But you could send a assistant or a hygienist or a telecamera out there with someone that doesn't make that much money or have that much debt or situation. Or tell me if I'm thinking wrong. Help me out here, Bill.
Well, Sonya, I think you're way above my pay grade on this one. I don't know the right answer. I think, there's fears out there that dentists are going to lose control of their place in the industry. It's been that way. Obviously, I'm a very old guy, and I've seen it since I got out of dental school. But and then obviously the Smile Direct clubs scare them even more, and that is not teledentistry, but that's what they think of, and people are trying to bring stuff in. I think it's just going to be time. This is my own personal opinion, but it's just going to be time. There's going to have to be examples of where it does work the right way. I don't think that we're only beginning to see it. And, I love working with organizations like yours for the reasons I said. That's where our passion is. But we want to make that successful. We want to be able to make organizations like yours see twice as many people as they could have because of the technology, to make it much more patient friendly, make it much more provider friendly, bring in other healthcare professionals. Once regulators begin to see that, I think it's going to be a little bit hard for them to turn away from the fact that what they're doing is limiting the healthcare of their citizens. Now, I don't know, this is the wrong time of history to be talking politics, but it's a political question.
Got it.
One of our most popular episodes to date is episode number 5, where we were diving into what hub and spoke dentistry can look like, what that kind of a model can look like. And in my opinion, the teledental aspect of that is what is the glue that holds the hub and spoke locations together. And so to what Sonya was saying, you know, this is going to be a significant part of the future where the traditional dental office will send out, you know, a hygienist or an associate or an assistant to hotspots in the community to care for the patients, whether it's a patient's home or whatever. So do you think, Dr. Jackson, do you think that this is actually going to be able to take off? You know, it already has in the public health arena, but in general dentistry, 10 years down the road, do you see the general dentist adopting this hub and spoke model to some extent?
Well, I think so. We definitely having discussions already of where, especially in rural areas where, you know, the hub might be a large dental office clinic, and the spokes are where a hygienist, of course, this is state by state, you know, and this is kind of what Cindy Purdy, as you know, is doing, but where they did, and that was, you know, where the office is run by the hygienist or a hygienist team, and then they feed into the dental office. And I think that we're already having conversations with people that are interested in doing that. You know, it doesn't even have to be mobile. It can be mobile, but it doesn't have to be.
Absolutely.
And in fact, maybe the mobile is the trailer that goes around to those hygienists' locations and does the full-blown dentistry. So that you know, so there's so many variations that can come into play. But those discussions are definitely happening. And I do think, I mean, you know, just what you said, Sonya, about what's going on in Texas. You know, again, I don't want to get into a political battle, but there's a problem there that has to be addressed, and this is one solution to a problem like that. And it's not even that scary if the dentists think of themselves as being a specialist, and the hygienist is the general practitioner. That's the frontline provider to so many people that otherwise wouldn't have it. And that they then can get the referrals where they can do what they do best, you know, restorative dentistry or whatever. So I do think that there's a future for it. Again, I don't think it's just around the corner. I wish it were, but I think it'll come.
That's great. That's great. Well, you know what, Bill, what you've put together is simply amazing. And like, I can't reiterate it enough how, you know, I think I said earlier, I recommend your product, and our team uses it. We use it in our nonprofit aspect in the long-term care facilities, which is very needed. We were able to, because your team is, like I said, it's just so user-friendly. We were able to give cameras to our facilities, and they love it because, you know, and we gave them out and let them know, now, if there's another lockdown, we want you to have eyes in this building. And I made a little tutorial video for the CNAs to use to do asynchronous videos. And I made one person at the facility responsible for the camera. And it seems, and it made them feel safe. That made them feel like, listen, there's another set of eyes in here. They made them, because during the shutdown, they still had the telehealth going in there. They still were able to get exams and do things. And like I said, the podiatrists, and they did the audiology. They still had those hands, because all that fell under telehealth. So now my facilities feel extra, because dentistry is huge in a nursing home, because if someone can't eat that's elderly, that's a situation. That's an emergency, you know, or if they have an abscess. So we were able to get that going. And thanks to your company and your generosity and how you all just walk people through that, and your desire to help serve the underserved is amazing. And in that way, you're helping save people's lives. So I thank you for what your company is doing. I thank you for being a part of our podcast and sharing this great information. And I hope others just look your company up and see what you have, because everybody that I've recommended, they're like, where have they been all of my life? You know, they just, what happened? Why did I get them first? I'm like, I know I kissed a lot of frogs, but we're here right now. Let's just love where we at. Let's enjoy the space. Enjoy the space. So thank you for opening up this space for people. What do you think about that, Melissa?
Yeah, and I want to thank Teledentix for being a part of the upcoming mobile conference and for being a part of the Alliance as well. The support that comes through is just evident, and we're still a small community, this mobile and teledentistry community. We're still a small niche, but we're growing, and I think the more resources, the more support that we can have will make it grow larger. And the bottom line is we want to bring access to dental care to everyone, no matter rich or poor. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts, Bill. Thank you and the Teledentix team for coming along on that journey with us. Sonya, do you want to wrap?
Well, let me also clarify, Sonya. It's Fabi is the woman who heads up our customer success area.
What I said?
I think you were close, but Phoebe, I think you said.
Phoebe, I said.
Fabi
out of California.
Yeah, and she is a superstar, and
my gosh,
and everybody that works for her is a superstar too. So.
Yes, the whole team. Listen, I just gotta say, I'm big on customer service because that makes or break it. And and she's so patient. They're just good. I'm not gonna beat the horse, but it's a good team. And I'm sorry I pronounced her name wrong, but it's a good team. It really is.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And thank you. I mean, thank you for having this and letting the word get out, because it's going to take that. And it's going to take people with curiosity. It's going to take people with creativity, because I don't think we've seen all the use cases for teledentistry even close yet. And it's going to take people using it and saying, "Oh, I could do this with it." I mean, I get that every day practically. I could do that. I could do that with it. So I appreciate you what you're doing and getting the word out.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here with us today. And we just want to let everyone know that we are excited to have Teledentix represented at the National Mobile and Teledentistry Conference, which will be March 4th through 6th. It will be an in-person event. So if you're interested in mobile or teledentistry, this is the conference to be at. I also would like to thank the Mobile and Teledentistry Conference for sponsoring this podcast. We really appreciate them for sponsoring the podcast and allowing us to have this parking spot and this place to be able to bring you the latest and greatest information about mobile and teledentistry. If you want whatever you need to know about mobile and teledentistry, this is the place to be. So please tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mobile dentistry comrades. What is the word, Melissa?
I don't even know. Comrades sounds right to me. I don't know. Bill, do you know?
Tell your mobile
Close enough.
To listen to this podcast wherever they listen to podcasts. Thank you for being with us today, and we hope to see you at the conference.
See you next time. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Dentistry Gone Wild, the official podcast for mobile and teledentistry. You can subscribe to our channel wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you're enjoying the show, please leave us a review.